Bring the horns in. We going all in.
I wonder, Danny, if you were there. This is something that I remember because it was part of the times. Then we came out of there. I think it was the first night, and there was a meeting at Herman Schwartz's house.
Yes.
And he was the professor at University of Buffalo Law School. And he was sort of in charge. And he had set up the chairs in rows in his living room. And then he had his own big chair facing everybody else. And so we came and said, we think you should rearrange the chairs in a circle so that we're all equal here. And he objected, but we had the support. There was this law undergraduate named Mara Siegel there who supported us.
Yeah.
And I met her that night. So there was tension there, and it was interesting, the same kind of tension almost after Fred was killed. And that was, should we go public? Should we be telling what the men told us? And there was, I think Herman and some other people said, we got to be cautious what we put out. And I think we all felt, wait a minute, this case is being tried in the public right now. And it's really important that that story get out. And we won the day. I don't remember who made the press conference that day. It wasn't me, but we did put out somewhat in the men's words and description what happened.
We did, and Herman and Bill Helstein from Legal Aid were mad at us.
Right.
Because they felt that we were exceeding. And I think, Jeff, you and I said, we represent the prisoners, we don't represent you. You may have the cars and the money to get to Attica, but we're here for the prisoners who are our clients. And that was somewhat of a rift, what I remember.
Absolutely it was. It's like, wait a minute, we've been here, we've been bringing the suits, we can handle it. And our thoughts were no. We've heard stories that the world needs to hear because, you know, the state had put out the story about the men had their throats cut and being castrated. And it was really important to put out what the men had gone through and what they saw. So I don't know, they sort of unwillingly went along. And so we did give a press statement right away and put out to the world what we were being told.
But that was the clearest indication of what a radical lawyer was supposed to do in a situation like that. We don't play by the rules that someone else created for us. And I think that's what the prisoners expected. And that's why we had the loyalty of the prisoners because our motives were never questioned, I think.
Absolutely. Because if there was one message we got from everybody, it was tell the world what happened. Tell them what they did to us. And so we felt that was our obligation. The mass incarceration, which followed the civil rights movement and the laws that allowed them to put up and incarcerate Black people who were who were a threat in the late 60s, and because the civil rights movement had combined with the anti-war movement, and there was a revolutionary movement in this country. And I don't think, I thought I think the idea that this mass incarceration, the war on drugs was not an accident. It divided the community. It paralyzed the community in many ways. That, and I think probably the introduction of drugs into the community. I mean, people talk about what's the legacy of Fred Hampton. And on one hand, the Black community and liberal whites did come together in Chicago. And there was repudiation of Daley, and probably they created the atmosphere that led to the rise of Obama. But on the other hand, on the west side of Chicago, where the Panthers were organizing, I think drugs and gangs took over after the removal of Fred Hampton and other leadership, other community members. So you see the prison movement as part of sort of another wing of COINTELPRO, which was an attack on the Black movement. So I think really understanding the role of prisons, the de-incarceration movement, which has come about and is very strong, the prison abolition movement, I think are really important parts of what people think is necessary.
Bring the horns in. We going all in.